welcome. If you're new to the channel, my name's Elliott and you're watching Rickety Ski Reviews. Today we're gonna answer your questions. I don't know, I'm gonna keep it simple. I'm just gonna answer questions. There's been a few that I've kind of built up that I really wanna talk about, so I'm gonna focus on those. As always, I kind of try to prioritize channel members, but let's just take a minute to go through and answer your questions. Thanks to everyone who watched my ski waxing video. I put a ton of effort into that. I know that stuff isn't for everyone, so I'm always trying to balance like, okay, what stuff's helpful to the ski community and what stuff is exactly what my audience wants to do. It's always a balance, but I hope you guys enjoyed it and there were at least 1 or 2 tips that you found helpful. All right, jumping right into the questions though, let's jump in. Colin Rez says, interesting review. This is the Stockli Montero AR review. Is it only for someone who wants to turn? Is the skifer? What's the subject of that sentence? I'm assuming the Stockli. Can you put it on edge and not have it turn? I like carving, but when I'm at stow and the runs are long there, I certainly do not carve from top to bottom. That would be boring. My daily driver was, and do not laugh, a 2021 Whaler Alchemist 100-184. What? I'm at stow. I don't want to turn because it's boring. Okay. I'm trying to This might be a group project. I'm not sure I understand, but okay. Whaler Alchemist. I haven't skied on Alchemist, but you know, the DPS skis in general tend to be known for being damped. You're right, they're usually pretty lightweight, they're carbon fiber. You feel everything, but yeah. Sure, it chatters when going a bit fast, so I got a Pagoda 90 RP 179. It carves better than the Whaler and does not chatter as much. I am seriously considering the Montero AR, but will not buy it until I have skied it an entire day or even 2 days. Would you compare the Montero AR to the Pagoda 90? They are both 15 meter turn radiuses. The Montero AR has a 15 meter turn radius? Oh, I guess it varies by size. But the 180s that I skied on have like a 17.3 meter turn radius. Sure, the 165 has like a 14 meter turn radius. No, I wouldn't say that again, I haven't skied those specific skis. I haven't skied the Whaler, I haven't skied that Pagoda. So, I don't know is the real answer. But as far as any DPS ski I have tested, whether it's the Kaizen 105, whether it's the Carbon Pieceworks, DPS skis feel very, very different from a Stockli. A Stockli is more like damp and will cut down on the chatter. If you want a short radius Stockli, you would look more at the Montero AX than the AR. But I'm just gonna talk about the AR. So as far as straight lining it, which is what you're describing, the Stockli probably honestly would do a little bit better because it's a lot more damp. It's gonna take that vibration better, again, than in most other skis out there. I don't know what to tell you though. I mean, the Stockli feels really good when you carve on it. Maybe you're just talking about like really hard short radius turns like a slalom ski. If you want to kind of just send it down the hill, the Stockli is very damp and smooth. I don't like skiing that way though. I do like carving and do like making the most of the hill. And honestly, it's a little bit dangerous to straight line. I'm not sure, something's lost in translation here and I'm not quite sure what it is. But if you're looking for something that's smooth when you go down the hill and that's not gonna chatter, the Stockli Montero has that. It's also smooth when you do get it on edge. For an East Coast ski, I think you should absolutely try it. I know you said you want to test it for 2 days. I would put it on your radar. For an East Coast ski that you want to be damp and smooth, this will be awesome for that. If you wanted to mix in some other options for that, you could test out the Volkl M7 Mantra, a Nordica Enforcer. Honestly, I'd probably, for you, based on what you're describing, would check out like a Volkl Mantra 84 or something like that. But, yeah, it's a lot damper. At least compared to the DPS skis I've skied. But again, I don't want to compare skis from the past that I've never skied on. I'm just going to give you my experience. As far as what you want out of a ski, this one really stuck out to me because I've never seen someone who's like, I don't want to turn all the time. But as far as dampness goes, you're on the right track with the Stockli. All right, Sure Feels Good says, would you help me choose this? He's talking about the Atomic Maverick 95 Ti, or the Maverick 100 Ti? Yeah, Maverick 95 Ti versus a QST 92 for skiing whitewater British Columbia. I am a 30-year-old hiatus. I am coming back from a 30-year hiatus from skiing and will stick to green blues and veer off course just a bit to get into more powder. They get dry snow here and groom runs remain soft. That's a great question. You know what? Honestly, I was going to kind of default to the QST92 because there's some better deals. Right now, you can get them for around $400, and I believe the Maverick 95s are about $450. What are they going for right now? Yeah, the Mavericks are going for $524.97, and they've got all the sizes. But because of what you said, I actually think I would recommend the Maverick 95 Ti's, especially coming off of a 30-year hiatus. They're so light, they're so forgiving. If you want a powerful ski, you got that. Normally I would go to the QST92 because I think right now it is a bit of a better bargain. But if you're only sticking to greens and blues, you are only gonna go off course when you wanna get into more powder. I think the 95 Ti is probably a better value for you because one, I like the Maverick 95 series for the groomers a little bit better than QST 92s. It's just a little bit more accurate with its turns. If you were saying I'm mostly going off trail and I want just a value daily driver, I would say go QST 92. They're damp, they have all this stuff. But because you're primarily on the trails and you're gonna be going on the groomed runs where it's more moderate, and then when it's powder, you want something that will kind of perform, the 95 Ti is probably your best option because you've got the Horizon Tech, which really allows those skis to just have way more range than you would kind of expect off trail. So because of your dynamic there, if I were you, I would look at the Atomic Maverick 95 Ti and get it at 524. This is kind of the last of this generation of Mavericks. The new Maverick CTIs I have so far been unimpressed with. So this is kind of the last year you even can get a 95 Ti or an 88 Ti. The new CTI skis, at least the 88s that I tried, they seem like they're going for more of a freestyle type crowd. So if I were you, yeah, I would lean Maverick 95s. Great question, I hope that helped, and welcome back from your 30-year hiatus. All right, One Never Knows says, for those of us that ski only 2 to 4 times a winter, is it better to wax at the start or at the end of the season? That's a great question. Ideally, you would do waxing maybe once in the middle and once at the end, but that's such a low amount of miles, I would just wax them at the end. It depends on where you're skiing and what the conditions are. Wax on skis tends to last a few days, but honestly, I only wax once or twice a season myself. Yeah, I would do it at the end. What I would do is I would wax and tune them at the end so that they can be in good condition while you store them, because you're just not getting enough mileage on them that doing it at the beginning makes any sense. And think of it this way, you're gonna store them where the edges can rust, where the bases can dry out. It's much better to do it at the end of the season where you're gonna kind of seal in the healthy bases and you're gonna have that layer of wax, and you're also gonna make sure that the edges are less likely to get rusted. 100% wax them at the end of the season, and then before you go to ski on the first day, give them a scrape, give them a brush, and that should get you through those 4 days. It just depends on how spread out there, I guess, but I would 100% do it storage at the end of the year. That's gonna give you way more bang for your buck. All right, in the video, the 7 worst ski trends that I'm sick of, Fritz Frank says, is it bad etiquette cutting through people in the lift line if they're not loading the lift and filling the chair? Is it bad etiquette cutting in front of people at the top of the park if they're just sitting, standing there and not going when the run is open? Am I a bad guy if I do this? I mean, I'm not much for park etiquette, but that sounds fine. But no, you are not the jerk. And in fact, the people who do that are the jerks. I've seen this all the time where people will go all the way to the front of the line, even though there's not any people there, and then they're waiting for a friend, and they'll wait right in front of the chair where you load for their friend, and they stand aside and go, oh, sorry, we're waiting for someone. Don't go there, wait for your friend before you get into the line, especially if there's no one there. No, these people are rude, I hate that, I see it all the time. It's so inconsiderate. It's almost as inconsiderate as some of the people where they will wait at the offloading of the chair so there's nowhere for you to go to get through there. People are just so oblivious. I get it, skiing's fun and not everybody is as familiar with it, but if you're looking for etiquette, if you are waiting for your friends at the bottom of the chairlift, do not do it where you're blocking everyone else from loading the chair. It seems so obvious, but people do it all the time. No, I don't think you're the jerk here at all. Thank you so much, Fritz Frank, for writing in. All right, Andy Jensen 5609 says, Ellie, come on! I just took off my hat to scratch my head. Hilarious. What a janky setup. Clearly with this setup you cannot be maintaining your skis very much. Go back to the drawing board and fix this. I also use a vise, but in the middle of the table so I can place support under the top of the tail. Yeah, what you guys aren't seeing is where my camera is mounted, and you can kind of see it in some of the GoPro shots, is on a ladder. Speaking of jank. So what I need to do to get the skis into the shot was put the vise at a 45-degree angle just so you can see everything I'm doing. Typically, I do have it mounted on the corner, but what I'll do is I'll just rotate it and make sure I have one 2x4 holding that like surface down so I have more points of contact. Typically, I don't do it quite that janky. It's pretty close, but it was more exaggerated so I could keep the skis in frame. You are right though, I mean, it is good to have support underneath there. And ideally, if you're doing a lot of tuning and waxing, you would have the designated vice grips that have all three of the things that go into the side of your workspace. But yeah, I mean, I do have a janky setup. I don't actually tune and wax my skis that often, to be honest. I do it maybe once or twice a year. And before then, I was just going and getting the free REI ones, especially when I had kids that were really young. I had all of my waxing and tuning equipment when I went back and forth from the East Coast to the West Coast, and during one of those moves, it didn't make the cut. So I had to kind of restart all of my waxing and tuning gear. It's just not that necessary in the West Coast. Like, you do not need your edges that sharp. The snow is so soft. And then, you know, as long as you keep them waxed once or twice a year and keep your bases from totally drying out, it's not that important to me. I don't know. It's not been an issue for me. Yes, should you maintain your skis more? Absolutely. I don't condone it, but that's just the reality, right? Like I said, I've got kids. I've got one kid with a disability. Some days just getting up to the ski hill at all is kind of a big deal. So, you know, and then at the end of the year, I make sure REI has this program. I don't know if they still do it, but they used to have a program where each person in your household would get one free wax. So I would bring my skis once a year, get them waxed before I stored them at the end of the season and store them. And, you know, like I said, I don't really need my edges that sharp. I can make do with what I had. It's not ideal. It's not, you know, it's not perfect, but we don't live in a perfect world, and that's just what I had the capacity to do. But also, not everybody has all those tools, and, you know, what's the alternative, right? If you can use a 2x4 to work your way through one pair of skis, who cares? Speaking of jank, another way to do it, if you don't have the vice grips, you can get a dumpster barrel, and you know, you put the bindings up, and then you just put the bindings down into the dumpster, and the ski holds itself on the sides. You can do it that way. I've seen people wax and tune their skis that way. When my daughter had a race this year, I took a milk crate, and her bindings fit inside of that, so I just used the milk crate. It's not ideal. I don't want anyone to get hurt, but it's better than nothing. So a lot of these videos is just trying for me to show you guys way around it. Same with using the ski straps to hold the brakes up. It's not ideal, but for somebody in a pinch, it'll work. So yeah, it's a little janky, but sometimes life is a little janky. So anyway, that's the end of the video. If you like this kind of content, please consider liking and subscribing. That's a free way to support the channel. You can also become a member. We have, you know, company Ko-Fis, Venmo, stuff like that. You can become a channel member if you want to get some of the content exclusive, not exclusive, if you want to get some of the content a little bit early. Usually it'll go out at least a few hours, sometimes a couple days early. But as always, I keep all my content free because I want to get back to the community. And members always get priority when they ask questions or send in their ski quivers, which, by the way, I have not ignored you guys. I see all the ski quivers. I'm working on it. You should see more content like that. I'm planning on doing at least one more video, at the bare minimum. But anyway, as always, more than anything, just thanks for taking time out of your day to spend it with me. It means a ton to me. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. See ya.